What up, Laker fam? It's your boy DTLF back with another post-game recap as the Lakers lose to the New York Knicks, 112 to 108. Very disappointing loss. This game was winnable on so many levels, man. Um, you know, I'm extremely disappointed because some of the coaching decisions really costed us, man. Really costed us. Like Darvin Ham really got out coached. But also, I'm disappointed in AD because that's back-to-back games. He's had subpar offensive games. Now, he did have 16 rebounds in this game and a couple of blocks, but he only had 17 points in comparison to Julius Randle's 33 and RJ Barrett's 30, right? So we needed him to step up big time, and he did not. Darvin Ham, though, you cannot have your best defender and Jared Vanderbilt out for the majority of that fourth quarter. What are you thinking? Like, and on top of that, he went zone defense when we had a 4-point lead and gave up some wide open threes. We lost momentum. Also, another thing he did that's a big time rookie coaching mistake is that he benched multiple times. He benched Anthony Davis and D'Angelo when they had it going, while Julius Randle and or RJ Barrett stayed on the floor for their team. So they always had one of their two main guys. And that was the difference in the game. Also, we missed free throws and did some silly turnovers down the stretch of the game. But man, it feels like we cannot get back to 500 every time we're right there knocking on door. Now we're back to 2 games below. Very winnable game, man. And I don't know if they partied too hard last night, but this didn't, the second half Lakers tonight didn't resemble the ones that we've seen since the trade deadline. So that's unfortunate. But again, Darvin Ham gets out coached. Lakers came out here flat in the second half again. The Knicks just wanted it more, man. They had two guys in 30-point games, RJ and Julius, and we only had D'Angelo up there. So, very, very disappointing, man. And what's up with the zone defense? When you're going up against a shooting team, what's up with that? Very discouraged by that as well. Gunzy said 0 effort defensively, second half. He said with a chance to tie for the seventh and go above 500 is unbelievable. Also, Ham, what are you doing? You know what, man? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing, but I'll tell you this. This team has everything that it takes, and it's all about the coach putting it together. Now there's a couple of decisions he made, man. We had Malik Beasley should no longer start. All right, I said that since the last game. He's too inconsistent. He doesn't give you much defensively. At times he's okay, he's solid, but we need some consistency. Start either Lonnie Walker or Austin Reeves. I prefer Austin Reeves. um he missed some wide open shots. So did Troy Brown Jr. They both didn't have great games. Also, how many free throws did we not leave on the free throw line between Dennis and Anthony Davis? And we didn't get many tonight, but the ones we had opportunities, we didn't cash in on those. He said Josh Hart with no business getting 8 boards for offensive. This is why I was mad Jared Vanderbilt didn't play the majority of that fourth quarter, right? And Anthony Davis really disappoints me because, dude, you had Hartstein on you, right? They didn't even bring in Julius or Mitchell Robinson till towards the end of the game. You had Isaiah Hartstein on you, and you could not, or the coaching staff couldn't drop a simple pick and roll play between him and D'Lo. Like, we couldn't get him going towards the basket. As a result, we go on these horrible dry spells, and that's how you lose games. Simply put, man, I don't know what the game plan is from this coaching staff tonight. Very confused by several decisions they made. The team that had us going was the one with Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo, Anthony Davis, and I forgot who was the other guy. But, that team didn't get run till we were down by double digits. Stuff like that just drives me crazy. And again, how you gonna let Randall cook you while you're sitting AD and D'Angelo on the bench? Arguably your two best players. You're sitting them on the bench and you're letting Julius Randle and RJ Barrett cook you. And again, your best defender and Jared Vanderbilt sat for the majority of the fourth quarter. We didn't foul in time, guys. We could have prolonged the game. We're starting to make a late comeback. It ends up being a phantom run because we don't foul on time. Like, we're poorly coached. These are rookie coaching mistakes. If I'm coach, I'm yelling at the players. Heck, I'm running out there myself to foul these cats. You know what I'm saying? Like, why were we not fouling? That's ridiculous, man. But again, they say a team takes up the identity of its coach. And up until this game, we were playing harder than every other team. However, Thibs is a better coach than Darvin Ham as of right now. And as you can see, his team played harder and made the game-winning plays. Simple as that. And again, the Lakers had plenty of opportunities to capitalize, and we missed. We missed every time. Brian said, if we had played defense and given a damn, we could have won this game. If it wasn't for D'Angelo, this would have been a blowout. There was no pride. You know what? You're right, man. It seems like everybody except for D'Angelo went and partied hard. I don't know. I don't know what it was. Not gonna make excuses. We take our L and we move forward. But this is a heartbreaking loss because very winnable. A couple of better coaching decisions and a couple of players knocking down some open shots. We're in the win column tonight. But that's the difference between wins and losses. And mind you, the Knicks had lost 3 in a row. You had to know this was a very dangerous team. But it's not acceptable how long it takes for the coach to make defensive adjustments, guys. It's not acceptable. Um, Julius, we made a good defensive adjustment on Julius. I said at the halftime report we needed to throw Anthony Davis on Julius Randle because he had 25 points at the half, and he ends up with 33. So definitely that worked. However, no Vanderbilt on RJ Barrett, no Vanderbilt the majority of the fourth quarter. Um, he let Malik Beasley get cooked out there while he didn't play good. I mean, come on, man. We need quicker adjustments than that. We need a coach that's gonna do that, right? And whenever we have momentum, you're benching your stars, sticking to the minute restriction crap. Let them, push the lead up to double digits, then you can bench them. Like, I don't know, man, why coaches do that. They stick to their minute restriction stuff. I get it. You're trying to prevent players from getting injured. But at the same time, these are the last 15 games. Now we got 14 left, right? And we got to make the most of it. He said Darvin Ham is the cap on this team's success. Maybe with some experience under his belt, flat out outcoached on most nights. That's true, man. That is true. Thibs ran laps around him tonight. Every time we made a run, Thibs calls a timeout, makes the adjustment. They come back, right? What about Darvin, though? He allowed us to go down double digits before calling timeouts. All right. He's not matching up, man. He said Ham is trash. How you have Walker, you don't play him or Max. That's true. Those are two very serviceable guys, especially on a night like tonight when Malik Beasley and Troy Brown didn't have it going. Both of those guys could have ate up those minutes for all I care. Or he said, if guys don't have a great game, play other guys. Exactly. He said, AD is that this coach is trash. Yeah, man. I 110% agree. And people will still defend Darvin, which is fine. He is a rookie coach, so I'm giving him a little bit of leeway, but we got to call him out. He literally gives games like these away, right? It's not that hard. Look, if I'm the coach and I see that they're not sitting Julius Randle, I'm not sitting Anthony Davis, right? And matter of fact, why did Anthony Davis start on Mitchell Robinson? Mitchell Robinson is not an offensive threat. What are we doing there? Also, why wasn't Jared Vanderbilt out there to start the fourth guarding RJ Barrett, matching up? It's just simple adjustments sometimes. Look, we did a good job at the half. I mentioned we needed to start AD on Julius, and he only scored 8 points, in contrast to 25 in the first half. He only scored 8 points in the second half. So that worked, except now we gave up wide open threes to Josh Hart. We're going zone. Why are we playing zone on a three-point shooting team? We start playing zone. We giving up wide open shots. Instead of having our guys, we have a defensive MO. Now, I get it. Zone worked on the last game versus the Raptors, but you have to know your MO, guys. The Knicks are a better three-point shooting team, right? And it's just like, it's very discouraging, man, because we had this game. We had this game. It was in the bag. There's a lot of times we're finally getting momentum. They call a timeout. We come out with the wrong lineup. Why, coach? Why can't you leave whatever's working for us and let it finish off the momentum? Like, why? I don't understand it. And I'm being as calm as I possibly can because this Laker team has played phenomenal basketball. So I'm not going to overreact to one loss, right? But these are crucial losses, man, because this could have had us in competition for the 7th and 8th spots. Now we're back to fighting for number 9 again, right? We do need to sign another big. I agree. He said you shouldn't take out your both starters when they're playing their string and are hot. Very bad moves by him. I don't understand it, man. I don't understand it at all. I don't get it. Frederick says, I don't blame no players or the other coaches. Only Hamburger lost this game, period. I don't know who. Oh, you're talking about Darvin Ham. I will say AD could have stepped up tonight big time. And then Troy Brown and Malik didn't have good games at all. Right? They have some wide open shots. They got to knock most of those down. Right? That could have been the difference in the game. Also, the missed free throws. It drives me nuts, man. We're talking about AD missing back-to-back free throws. We're talking about Dennis, one of your lead guards, missing free throws. Like, that really hurts, man. That's the difference. That's the difference in games sometimes. It's the little things. Ham shot us in the foot so many times. And it's like, why, coach? Why are you so stubborn? Some coaches are stubborn. The best coaches learn on the fly. They learn from their mistakes. The worst coaches are stubborn. He continues to play that two guard lineup with D'Lo and Dennis. Listen, I would have much rather have Vanderbilt out there than Dennis, if we're being honest. Somebody said, "Oh, because our offensive purpose." Yeah, but what about the defense? What about the second chance rebounds you're giving up? What about the ability to play the passing lane, play more on ball than instead of playing zone, right? Like you give all that up when you have Malik Beasley out there. You give all that up when you have Troy Brown if he's not having a good game. You give that up when you have Dennis instead of some size out there. You could have had Hachimura and you could have had Vanderbilt out there. Use all your size. That way they can't bully inside. Now they're settling for contested outside shots. But nope, that's not what we did, man. He said, we will get in the playoffs, but this coach will hurt us in the playoffs with his coaching. Subs, AD had a bad, but no excuse for AD, no leadership. I think AD got really comfortable in the fact that D'Lo was taking over, but he needs to actually get motivated and say, you know what, D'Lo's going off, I need to go off. That's what the Knicks did. They had two people with a 30 piece between Julius and RJ Barrett, and again, they're top heavy. We got beat basically by two guys. The next best scorer was Emmanuel Quickly with 15. Right? We couldn't even get a 20 piece from AD. That's not acceptable because you're the best player on the team when LeBron is gone. D'Angelo did his part with 33 and 8. His shots didn't fall towards the end, but I would have rather him taking those shots and see what's hot than AD because AD didn't show confidence towards the end. And how can you get clamped up by Hartstein, man? He's their backup big. That's ridiculous, man. He said, we now number 11th, got to win the next game. I'm not going to overemphasize on the standings because it's not set in stone yet. But yeah, every game matters, bro. Absolutely, Maurice. Every game matters. This could come back and bite us at the end of the season, right? It's one of those things, man. Winnable games. I hate losing winnable games, and we have done a tremendous job of, before this game of closing out. But let's be honest. The Knicks are no slouch. Yeah, they were getting BS calls in the first half and all of that. But things kind of leveled out towards the end, and we just didn't capitalize. We lost that fourth quarter 27-22, partially because coach can never match up properly. He let RJ Barrett cook Malik Beasley, right? He let RJ Barrett cook. And instead of having Vanderbilt out there saying, let me call a timeout and throw Vanderbilt out there, see what happens. No adjustments. Instead, he lets Dennis and whoever else was guarding him just get cooked. And it's like, it's really frustrating as a fan. You can't do nothing but hope that he opens his eyes and makes the proper adjustments. But that's all we can do. He said, honestly, damn, bro, we can't complain too much, man. We just lost. Energy was low today, and we waited for them to beat us. I'm telling, I could complain because them rotations were ass, bro. That's what I'm complaining about. I'm not mad that we lost because we've been winning most of these winnable games, but I am mad that we sometimes have to win in spite of something, right? In spite of poor rotations, in spite of lack of the proper timeouts called at the right time, in spite of Darvin Ham allowing Malik Beasley to get cooked and he still plays him a set amount of minutes when probably better defenders are out there like Max Christie and maybe even Lonnie Walker would have been better offensively. You got better options at times during games and you don't make those in-game adjustments. It's like, bro, we get it. You love your new players, but if he's not playing good, you make that sub, man. You make that sub. He said, think Reeves should start over Beast. Yeah, big time, man. I've been preaching that for a minute. I think we getting off the slower starts because Malik Beasley's hit or miss, right? And it's a make or miss league. If he's missing those wide open shots, then we're gonna lose momentum. If he's knocking those down, it can help us create separation and we even build more momentum. D'Lo was an absolute fire, and Malik Beasley was not. And neither was AD, neither was anybody else outside of D'Angelo. I kept waiting for Beasley to go on fire. I kept waiting for AD to start dominating inside. I kept waiting for Troy Brown to knock down some open shots. It never happened. The bench was much better than these guys, and that's when it tells you that maybe you should swap some starters for bench players. Tasia said, this is why we need LeBron back and a healthy because he's reliable every game. Ham is killing me. Put Vando in. That's why we signed him. Oh, absolutely. We need LeBron back. The good news, he was outside of that walking boot. That means he could be a little bit closer than we initially thought, but who knows? I'm no doctor. I like what I saw. Obviously, he's walking out there looking, feeling more comfortable, no longer in that boot. So that's got to be a positive sign if we can if we can have a positive takeaway from this. He said, we need a center. Wenyen Gabriel was getting cooked. Well, again, it's because he's getting played out of position. I agree that we need a center. We had one in Mo Bamba, but now that he's hurt, you got an open roster spot, right? William Gabriel's a 4 to me. He's not a 5. I love his hustle and how hard he plays, but you're setting it up for failure, man. You're setting it up for failure when you have him out there guarding some real 5s, right? It's not going to work. So just very disappointing night. That's basically, to sum it all up, we had plenty of opportunities to win. Every time we got the lead back, something dumb would happen, right? And again, credit to Coach Tibbs for calling the timeout to stop in momentum as soon as we got a 4-point lead. He didn't allow it to get to 9 or 10 like Darvin Ham. 4-point lead, he's calling a timeout, right? And that's how you command control and respect of your locker room. You don't allow shit to get out of hand. Lakers, we turn the ball over 2-3 times, and after we go down double digits or 9 points or whatever, that's when Darvin decides to call a timeout. It should be obvious that if we're heading in a negative direction, you call the timeout and you prevent the worst case scenario from happening. But again, rookie coach going up against a vet. I mean, let's be honest, Thibodeau has been a coach. I mean, he's been coaching some great teams, including the Bulls when they had Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, and all of them. And now the Knicks. I mean, he's a pretty solid coach, especially a defensive-minded coach. So they did their thing. We did not. He said Beasley needs to get in the gym and work on his shot. Look, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something about Los Angeles, all right? It's not for everybody. Beasley's a great shooter on teams that like the Timberwolves and the Jazz, all right? He was going off on over there. Right here, he's going off, once every 5 games or so. We need more efficiency from that starting. And I like Beasley, man. I think he's going to have a big game pretty soon. I think he is. But we just cannot afford to start somebody who is you never know what version of him you're going to get. It's the same thing I was saying about Dennis Schroeder, right? At times he's with the lazy passes. At times he really puts some energy in there, plays some solid defense, and he finishes. But you don't know what version you're going to get. So those players are better suited for off the bench. You want more consistency with the starting unit. That way you can match up versus their starters. RJ Barrett cooked us, man. RJ Barrett cooked us. It shouldn't have been like that. We should have matched that. We should have made him play some defense as well. He was saving it all for the offensive end because Malik Beasley and Troy Brown were not hitting shots. And that's when you have to go to the other players, the Lonnie Walkers of the world. At least he can get out in transition and, finish in transition at least. And when he has his 3 going, he's a very dangerous player. You also have Max Christie, who's been playing exceptional. And, because he's a rookie, he doesn't have that much experience, he's getting snubbed. But on nights like tonight, it's a perfect opportunity to try out something new, right? Dan, can we acknowledge the fact that D'Lo is saving our season? Not just D'Lo. Vanderbilt was doing phenomenal when D'Lo was not there. The role players have stepped up tremendously, man. But yeah, D'Lo is great. I mean, he was great tonight. We deserved to win, but AD didn't show up really offensively. Nobody else really showed up. Nobody was in the 20-point range. And even though I like having multiple guys in double digits, we did have that. We had Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley with 10, 12 for Rui. We had Dennis with 14 and 13 for Austin Reeves. However, we're still missing that scoring punch from like an AD, on top of having those guys in double digits. Because we weren't playing much defense tonight. Let's be real. That zone defense shit is lazy, man. That is some lazy defense. That's like saying, all right, guys, I want you guys to get some rest for the offensive end. So just leave guys wide open, knowing damn well they can hit it. Josh Hart hit a couple, and he's not really known as a 3-point shooter, but anybody in the NBA can step up and hit threes when left that wide open. I mean, just because we're playing zone defense doesn't mean we can't put our hands up, right? So I don't know, man. Darvin needs to, for reals, rethink his strategies at times because it's not working. The zone worked wonderfully versus Toronto because they were struggling from the field. But the Knicks were hitting everything from beyond the arc tonight, man. The Knicks were hitting inside and out. That's why they got to 112. We didn't live up to the best defensive team in the league since the trade deadline title tonight. Tonight we gave up wide open threes down the stretch mostly. They hit most of their wide open threes down the stretch. So that's poor coaching on Darv right there, man. That's simple as that. So, hey, Dan Ham said they don't need another big without Mo out. What is he going to say now? And why he's not using the challenge? Yeah, that's another thing. I don't get it. Why our coach, it's like he falls asleep at the wheel. Bro, you got a challenge. You burned a timeout on a stupid-ass free throw. You should have burned it on a challenge when I mean, there was many times he could have challenged, many times on some questionable foul calls. He could have challenged when supposedly Dennis reached in, but he never really got arm or anything. The guy was just floppy. He could have challenged a couple of times. You're absolutely right. That's another thing that goes over my head sometimes because Darvin's not using up that challenge. Other coach would have been alert. If there was a momentum shifting play, he would have used that challenge in the first quarter. Who cares? If you're going games without using it anyways, might as well use it where you can, stop some negative momentum, right? But it is what it is, man. We lose this game. We live to fight another day. Disappointing night, Laker family. But hey, this team has been playing so phenomenal. I mean, it's still encouraging that we were right there in this game, even though AD really hasn't showed up back-to-back games. He had a monster week, and then he's kind of disappeared offensively the last two games. Part of that is on coach because they need to drop more plays where he's closer to the basket. He settled for some fadeaways tonight that I didn't like. The best plays were pick and roll between him and D'Lo. We need some more of that, right? He said, we have the players, but not the coach. Darvin said that he likes the three-guard lineup in the fourth. That says it all. Yeah, man, you got all that size. You got Vanderbilt. You're going with Dennis over Vanderbilt. That's a huge mistake. As much as I like the fact that Dennis has been helping us close throughout the season, you got to have Vanderbilt. I don't care who gets excluded, whether it's Rui. I don't care who. He needs to be out there. He needs to be out there. You're talking about our best defender in the perimeter, if we're being honest. Obviously, the best paint protector is AD, but the best perimeter defender is Vanderbilt, right? Him and Austin Reeves, they're right there. But that size, that wing depth, that ability to play the passing lanes could really have changed this game around. We could have got some extra possessions with him. We could have got some extra rebounds. We could have maybe got a steal and transition bucket. It changes the outcome of the game when you make the proper rotations and you make the proper moves. Dan, shouldn't we have Lonnie start over Troy Brown or Malik? You know what? I would start him over Malik. I would also start Reeves, either one of those. Or even, I'll be honest with you, I like Max Christie's defense and his three-point shooting ability better than Malik Beasley's defense, if we're being honest. Malik Beasley is like a J.R. Smith type player. When he's on, he's on. And when he's off, he's all the way off, right? All the way off. And that's just not good enough to be the starting shooting guard for the Lakers. Unless he starts picking it up here, I'm going to start feeling that way. 4-point loss. The little mistakes cost this one. Absolutely, Divine. He said, yeah, no, bro. You're not going to tell me what to say, man. Stop it. You get insta-block. How about if you disagree, just say you disagree. How about that? He said, Dan, are you worried about Ham's decisions come playoff time? I am. I'm very worried about Ham's decision come playoff time. I'm hoping that having LeBron out there as a coach on the floor type player will help some of those decisions out. But, man, it's very discouraging when you lose games like this. Now, I'm not fully discouraged because, again, we've been playing phenomenal basketball. We got some favorable games coming up in the schedule, but we have to take care of those. We can no longer lose these games. We have 14 games left in the season, so we really have to start, improving our execution down the stretch. By the way, Anthony Davis just talked about this loss. He said, my fault, I played terrible. That's good. That's good leadership. Now, actions do speak louder than words, so the next game I need him to get me a 30-piece at least, right? And I think he can do it. I think he will do it. But, yeah, man, you're that big, you're that dominant. You need to demand that ball, man. Demand that ball, and he needs to park his ass closer to the basket because he's unstoppable down there. Mid-range when he has it going, great. Three-point shot when he has it going, great. But he makes a killing and a living, 10 to 5 feet away from the basket. That's where we need him. That's where we need him. But again, credit to the Knicks. They outworked us. They out-hustled us. They got more calls than us. And we just didn't execute down the stretch. They did. RJ Barrett and Julius combined for over 60 points. That's a recipe for disaster, right? Coming from the best defensive team in the Lakers since the trade deadline. So we didn't live up to that name tonight. Again, they might have partied too hard last night. I don't know what it is, but I didn't see. Look, D'Angelo looked phenomenal. Everybody else was questionable, okay? That's how I'm going to categorize this game. D'Angelo looked phenomenal offensively. Everybody else went dry. From AD to Troy Brown to Malik Beasley. Everybody else magically disappeared, right? So, let's hope that we can bounce back the next game, and we need a 30-piece from AD, man. He said, who would you sign, Serge Ibaka or Cousins? Whichever one's healthier. But I do prefer Serge because, He's known more for the defensive end than DeMarcus. DeMarcus is kind of he's never really been like a great defender per se, and he's on the older side, so it's probably going to be more flat-footed. He said, "I wish we got Will Hardy today." Man, the Knicks actually waived Moses Brown. He's a legit 7-footer, UCLA guy. I wouldn't mind, giving him a 10-day contract, see what happens. Sometimes these 10-day contracts will give you some hungry ball players, right? Like we've seen in the past. So he said, do you think Ham wait. He said, do you think Ham should shorten the rotation, like play 8 main guys instead of 9 to 10? Like he doesn't give guys consistent minutes. Can't expect them to get it going if you don't play them. I think coach, if he does that, he should still, pull out the wrong players that don't have it going that night. You know what I'm saying? That's what he should really do, if we're being honest. Yeah, no spamming, bro. I appreciate you super chat, but you cannot spam. I don't understand Walker 37% and Christie 42% from the 3-point line and Beasley 35 and one worst defensive guard in the NBA. Yeah, Darvin's decisions have been puzzling all year long, and it seems like he can't stay away from those poor decisions, no matter who you trade away. It's just, he's one of those coaches. He's one of those coaches that I feel he has favorites. Obviously, Dennis is the main one. He has favorites, and you should never coach like that. You know what I mean? Like Darvin he said facts over feelings, and that has been blasphemous thus far because it's been favorites over facts. That's what it's been all season. So it has been supremely disappointing because I expected great things from Darvin. Now I've given him credit, right? What he has done is he's empowered players, so I have no doubt that maybe Malik will get out of the shooting funk, but it shouldn't cost us games. You know what I'm saying? Like it shouldn't cost us games in order for him to get out of the shooting funk. Like if you don't have it going this game, next man up. You got plenty of guys that should getting PT. Like my guy said, Max Christie shooting 42% from beyond the arc. Can't get a minute. My boy Lonnie Walker is a certified bucket. He can't get a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really sad. We need to do better. And I understand also that partially coach is starting Beasley with D'Angelo because those two have good chemistry. They've played together. But D'Angelo is just such a great point guard that you can insert Austin Reeves, you can insert Lonnie Walker, and it'll seem like they've played together forever because I don't know if you guys realize D'Angelo's so talented. And this is a skill set not every guard has, but his passes lead to buckets, meaning he either gets you wide open or he's throwing the ball towards the rim or towards the basket or in stride where guys can just catch and finish. That is a tremendous asset to have. Now, if the guys aren't shooting well like Troy and Malik Beasley, got other options, man. Other guys will step up and he'll do the same thing for them. He'll lead them towards the bucket, right? Easy buckets. And that is what makes D'Angelo Russell so good, right? Then we get nothing from the starters besides 2. Yeah, can't have that. Can I have that? I have no favorites, guys. I was really excited when we traded for Malik Beasley because he was a really good scorer on other teams. But if he's struggling here, bring him off the bench. Less pressure, right? Less pressure. So, I got nothing against anybody. I got even though I got favorites, I still rather play whoever's playing better at all times, right? Because it's all about the team win at the end of the day, right? He said Darvin Ham is like giving the keys to Lamborghini to a kid with a driver's permit. He said not a license, meaning he's not really qualified to drive. Wow, that one hurts. That pretty much sums it up so far. That's what happens when you run your mouth. I said he'd be the sole reason we don't get it done. Wait, what? Who ran their mouth, William? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm confused. John Morant to LA. Stop it. He said, would you love to have Dwight back? I'd get any 7-footer, anybody who can help us, man, because we have been struggling with the rebounding since our guy Mo Bamba went out. We've also been getting killed in the paint. For example, tonight, the New York Knicks, right? They had, let me see how many points in the paint. Points in the paint. Well, we were deadlocked at 52-52, but I guess the difference was the free throws, right? They had 17 compared to our 10, and we missed 7 free throws. They only missed 4. That's also a recipe for disaster. Imagine if we had made, we missed 7 free throws. Imagine if we had made 3 more of those free throws. Now we're not playing the fouling game because we would have been deadlocked, and maybe we had a clutch bucket to end it off. I mean, who knows? Jose Ortiz said, Ham not calling the mid-screen and pops for Rui blows my mind. He said, your best mid-range shooter, and he's forced to back down and create everything. That is another good point. Again, more players need to get plays drawn up for them. Rui is one of them. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It truly is crazy. But hey, um, again, we live to fight another day. We have a really good team here. We have a really, really good team here. It's about taking advantage of that. And that's what Darvin has to do. Because if not, Darvin Ham's going to turn into Darvin Scam before we know it. And Laker fans will be calling for his head next. I don't want that. I don't want to have another scapegoat type. I actually want him to thrive here and to learn from his mistakes. And ain't no better way to learn than by losing games. So you lose these games, you got to learn from your mistakes. Beasley cooking. He said, we got to play against the opposing team and the coach. I love our team. Yeah, man, listen. We should never, we should never, ever, ever have to win in spite of something. We already went through our fair share of that with Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverly. So it's tough, man, when you have the right pieces, but they're not getting played. Again, we got Lonnie Walker rotting on the bench while Malik Beasley is going like 2 for 11 and stuff like that. Can't have that. You got, again, a young, hungry rookie who, by the way, looks like he put on some pounds of muscle, just sitting over there on the bench, and he's looked phenomenal, man. But they're not getting no run, and again, there's a lot of favoritism going on. It's like politics, man. Can't have that. Can't have that. But we'll be straight. Look, guys, we lose tonight. All right, we got some games coming up that I believe should be, dubs. Again, should be and will be are two different things. But we got the Pelicans. They're hungry, so that's gonna be a tough one on Tuesday. But I still believe that we can win that one. Of course, we already beat them. Before the before the All-Star break, we smoked them. So they're gonna be looking for revenge, and we're going to their house now. So that's gonna be a tough one. But after that, we got the Rockets. Then we got the Mavs, who we also beat. We got the Magic coming up. Then we got the Suns, but they don't have Kevin Durant. Then we got the Thunder. That's going to be a tough one. But then we got the Bulls twice. Then Minnesota, the Rockets, the Jazz, the Flippers, the Suns again, and the Jazz to end it out. So some of these games will be very rigid, and they will go back and forth like tonight. But, like I said, for the majority part with this new team, we've been figuring out ways to win these games. Tonight was just not our night, unfortunately. And we had to win in spite of something, and we didn't do it. So, again, can't blame one person individually, but yeah, Darvin Ham rotation is really bad tonight. Anthony Davis, at least he took accountability, and he said he's got to be better. He knows it. So I can't wait to see it. He can do it. But that's it. That's it. Any final questions before I get off, y'all, man? That pretty much wraps it up. Real quick, major shout out to the sponsorship Prize Picks. And Lakers will bounce back. Don't hang your head too much, Laker Nation. Tough loss, but we live to fight another day. 14 games left. So my goal is for the Lakers to win 10 out of the last 14 and to go 8 games over 500. That is my goal. They can do that. We'll probably be in really good position by the time LeBron James comes back. 10 out of 14. It's very doable, right? Don't you guys think it's very doable? I think so. He said, can we talk about D'Lo, though? Listen, I love what he did tonight. This dude's a killer, man. Unfortunately, we came up short. I love talking about stats far more when we win because that's a priority. But D'Angelo Russell got ice in his veins, man. He's the real deal. They need to go ahead and sign him up for the next 4 to 5 years, if possible. He said, let's barbecue them bird Pelicans. We need to, man. We need to. We're going to come out. It's going to be a very tough game. They remember we 20 plus pieced them the last time we faced off. So they're looking for revenge. And then we're going to their house now, right? We went 3 out of 5 at home. It should have been 4-1, to be honest. It should have been 5-0, really. But we lost 2 out of those 3. But at least we won most of them. Now we got to go on the road and start winning some games. He said, getting to 500 keeps getting so close within reach. Yeah, honestly, man, had we executed down the stretch all season long, we would have been a couple games over 500 already. But the goal is not 500. The goal is playoffs and then do damage in there, right? So even though I would have loved to be at 500 today, I'm not too discouraged. We're still 2 games below, and we're still a very damn good team. Look, we just fell victim to the fact that the Clippers get all the calls. They beat the Knicks. The Knicks were furious. They come out, they go on a rampage, and they actually beat us. They caught us slipping because I think there was a birthday yesterday. All right. Now, no excuses. We got to find ways to win these games. That's the bottom line at the end of the day. We have what it takes to win these games. So I expect a lot better from the Lakers moving forward, but I'm pretty sure they're going to live up to the hype, man, because it's been really fun watching. Even with this loss, it's been a blast. I mean, that first half when D'Lo was going off, I was just, man, I was over the moon. I really thought we were on our way to 500 ball. But hey, doesn't always work that way. We live to fight another day. Let's get it, Laker Nation. Pelicans coming up on Tuesday. I will see you guys then, unless anything breaks before then. You guys make sure you have a great rest of your night. Peace out, Laker family.